Are you living in Spain less than 183 days in a calendar year and you want to learn how the non-resident tax works? Do you think it might be very expensive? In this video, I'm going to explain to you how it works, and it's not really that expensive as you might think. So follow me now. Right, you need to bear in mind as number one rule that you need to stay in Spain less than 183 days in a calendar year, which means from the 1st of January to the 31st of December, right? A lot of you might have questions about visas and things like that. Now, the date of entry here in this country will mean that for tax reasons is only from January to December. So don't get confused with that, okay? Then the second tip of advice I will give you is only for those who've got assets in Spain, like property, or they have income from work as a non-resident. Otherwise, you don't have to pay taxes in Spain as a non-resident, okay? Now, if you have a property in Spain, let's say you have a property worth, we'll say 200,000 euros, okay? 200,000 euros. And you will ask me, Ignacio, how does it work? How can I do the income tax return as non-resident? Okay, first rule, 183 days less, 1st of January to the 31st of December, and I need you to find in your files the suma or the IBI of your property in Spain, which you will have a reference value for tax office, okay? So you get this, and depending whether that's been updated in the town hall up to 10 years, you have to multiply the value for 1.1% or 2%. Okay, that's how it works. So the reference value multiply depending whether it's been updated or hasn't been updated. Okay, once you get this net figure, you need to multiply, if you're non-resident but European, EU, 19%, and that will be the tax to pay for the property and living in the property, or 24% if you are non-European. Okay, so there is a bit of a difference here. Right, how about if you're renting this property? Very simple. You're renting this property worth 200,000 euros, and for the time that you're renting, you need to lodge quarterly that information. So that means income minus expenses for European, and then multiply 19%. If you are non-European, then you will need to do income, you don't deduct the expenses, and multiply 24%. That will be every quarter. In Spain, we have 4 quarters, 1, 2, 3, and 4, from the 1st of January to the 31st of December. So the first quarter you might be renting, the second quarter you probably are not renting and living, the third one you are. So in each quarter you'll have to lodge depending on your activity. And then if you have a mixture, as I'm telling you here, you will do an annual one. The annual only does the one for living in the property, and the quarterly only if you're renting. Okay? Important things for you to know will be if you're selling the property. How does it work, Ignacio? Very simple. You're going to be retained from the value of 200,000 euros 3%. So selling 3%, you will start losing out from the sale. But that money has to be worked out within the following months of completion, and you need to work out, in both cases, you need to do the rule of 19%, which means if you made a profit, let's say you earn 100,000 euros, whether you're European or non-European, the income tax return for the sale for non-resident will be 19%. Okay? The 3% will be the retainer that if taken from you, and then you'll work out and ask for a rebate, or if it's more, you end up paying. Okay? That's for non-residents, that's for non-resident tax. And now I'm going to explain to you what happens for those who needs to do wealth tax. So follow me now. Okay, as we discussed before, if you have a property here worth the 200,000 euros, as I explained to you before, on a non-resident tax, it will be probably very little, it will be 120 euros per person per year, right? The 200,000 euros will not comply with the wealth tax. But how about if I have 700,000 euros, okay? Well, that's the limit, that's the threshold for you to do wealth tax as a non-resident, okay? Now the time to do the non-resident tax here is different. You'll need to lodge it the following year. So this year, you'll do it the following, and you do it April to June. But again, I don't want you to forget that we're talking about people living in Spain less than 183 days from January to the 31st of December of a calendar year. So you need to comply with this. You need to be less than 183 days in Spain. And then you have to have a property worth, as a non-resident, more than 700,000 euros, okay? Then, from there is a sliding scale that you will see in our article about wealth tax in 5 minutes, and you will start declaring that over money, 0.25% up to 3.5%. So let's say, but that's per person. So let's say if you have a property worth 1,400,000 euros in joint names, 700 and 700, you don't need to do the wealth tax in Spain. If you have over this amount, you'll start paying 0.25 sliding scale. As I said, this rule, you'll need to check in what community you are being as a non-resident. If you are here in Comunidad Valenciana, this rule is applicable. If you are in another one, as it is now in Madrid, you'll be exempt. So you need to do 2 exercises. Check every day the law and know what community you're in. In the old days, this wealth tax was suspended, and at the moment it still applies. Okay, important, if your money is tied up with companies, it's not taxable in Spain because it's company money. Okay, it's only money in your personal name, individual name. Okay, so as a summary, for 200,000 property here, income tax return will be per person average 120, depending again on the tax value from the cadastre. For a property over 700,000 euros, okay, you have a sliding scale here. But even if you have 1,500,000, let's think it's 1,500,000, and you've got over 100,000 euros, we're still talking about not a lot of money. We're talking about 125 euros per person here on a joint ownership. So the wealth tax and the income tax could be planned. It is not that expensive as you might hear, and it's always worth it for you to do tax planning with your lawyer in advance to know your specific scenario. Okay, so I hope you understood this video very well, and now you know a bit more about the law and the taxes in Spain. See you in our following video. Thanks.